Namaste. Welcome to Our Planet in Perspective. In today's episode, we will be in conversation with climate activists from around the globe. Our guest for today's episode, Kanagavalli Suryanarayanan. She is an advocate and polar law expert from India.
Could you tell us about the amount of damage that the developing countries and the developed countries have been doing and how polar law can help us address these challenges?
This is overall in terms of it's happening across the world, but the problems are not recent. This has been in the past. So because of industrialization, because of colonization and raw materials being exported from here, we were exploitative colonies. So the raw materials went from here, and then the industrialization happened in the global north. So that does have an impact, a long-term impact. And now the developing worlds are also, we are also moving ahead with times. We need to have a very sustainable view about the future. We need to have a holistic approach. We need to go back to our roots, is what I feel. As a civilization, we all at least in the Indian subcontinent, we all have been more preserving nature, worshipping nature, at least in the Himalayas. The mountains are prayed, the rivers are prayed. Every confluence we have temples. I mean, it's across the region. So it's important not just for the science, but also to take in the cultural aspect, the spiritual aspect, to bring it to the local level. Not just science and policy can make a difference. It is the people who have to make the difference.
Right.
So that's where I feel that we have to involve people, and we need to look at our roots. Science is not something very Western. Science has been part of our lifestyle. It's been, I don't know about here, but at least in my part of the world, we pray to the rivers. We say our small slokas like Gange cha Yamune cha Godavari Saraswati. We say those slokas in the morning. It's inherent in our culture. Somewhere we need to understand that, bring back, it's not something alien. Somebody else can do for it. It's not just the state, not just the policymakers, not just the scientists. It's the people who have to, bring in that difference. And even in India, we are talking about mission life. The government of India is talking about mission life, and the G20 is ongoing now. So we want to make those changes, sustainable changes at our homes. I'm wearing a patola sari. It is a handover from my mom. It's not a fast fashion. So we are all looking at, these are handlooms. We need to go back to our roots. We just cannot keep on industrializing. We cannot keep on building, constructing. We need to make these changes at a very, very, basic level. The communities have to take, the village councils have to take responsibility. So these are all important aspects.
How inclusive is polar law when it comes to indigenous people?
See, there's a subtle difference there. The Arctic is, there are many states which are settler colonies. We are post-colonial countries here. Which means settler colonies means the Western countries still hold on to their lands. The indigenous people are given almost an equal platform in the Arctic Council. Their voice is very much heard, and they take part in all cooperation mechanism and the Arctic Council working groups, all projects they take forward. So their voice is very much heard. But of course, when there are state-centric issues like what happens now, sometimes their voice, I feel, is muted. When larger issues, when states decide the future, their voice is a bit muted, is what is my feeling about the Arctic. Otherwise, they have a very large space today to communicate, to voice out their messages. There are 6, indigenous people, permanent participants in Arctic Council. So they make a lot of difference, and practically you cannot move anything in the Arctic Council without hearing them. So the states have to hear them.
Right.
So even though in theory it is different, practically they do hear the indigenous communities. But what is the difference is that they are very small communities in, for example, in Greenland, around 54,000 people live. They're small communities. One small settlement will have around 300 people. 200 people, so very, very small communities. But in our case, our knowledge system is very vast, very, very vast. It is up to us how we want to utilize it for our benefit. And unless we don't start engaging with the system that is outside the Western science, we're going to lose it. We're really going to lose on it. This knowledge is going to fade away. So we need to engage those people. We need to, look at the land. We need to be connected to the land.
We will be back next week with a new episode. Until then, hope you have a great week ahead. Namaste.